person who should have been in her corner and could have changed the narrative sit back and stay completely silent.
It covered the whole situation from beginning to end from Reagan's perspective. Now, if you want me to cover that, hit the like button and let me know in the comment section. Subscribe if you got any value from this video, and catch you next time.
Haha, jokes on you. I actually found the original video and it is retweeted by Brett Cooper on Reddit. I don't know what account is this, but it's a subreddit dedicated to conversations about Brett Cooper. And it says, I guess no one caught this video, but a select few before she deleted it. And I actually did go to her TikTok, Reagan Conrad, and I couldn't find the video. So somebody posted this here and it's 13 days ago. So let's go and check it out.
I've watched the internet completely rip over the past week or so, I have watched the internet completely rip my cousin to shreds over something that is the furthest thing from her fault. And I've watched the one person who should have been in her corner and could have changed the narrative sit back and stay completely silent. So I, for one, am not going to stay silent, and I'm about to tell you exactly what happened. I suggest that you listen to this video and, in fact, even share this around, because this needs to be spoken about and Regan's name needs to be cleared.
And then
I'm Reagan Conrad, and my cousin is Regan Conrad, who works for the Daily Wire. And
that's why, like, I was a bit confused. Why was she allowed to even do this? I think they are not allowed to talk about this.
Current host of the comments section on YouTube. The previous host was Brett Cooper. If you're unaware, the internet, especially Brett Cooper stans, have been up in arms over the fact that Brett Cooper recently decided to leave. There's been a lot of speculation over what happened, why did Brett leave. The speculation unfortunately turned into rumors, and then the rumors were taken and ran with. And then my cousin just began to get hated on, and it's actually crazy the things that people are saying. And I want to set the record straight because, unfortunately, while Regan and Brett were best friends, Brett has just sat back and watched this happen to Regan. And in fact, she removed all of her posts with Regan on Instagram and eventually unfollowed her too, which obviously made the internet even more skeptical of Regan. And it's just plain wrong because Regan has done absolutely nothing but support Brett her entire...
Really? Really? Daily Wires decides to fire your best friend and they offer you the job and you're the maid of honor of her in her wedding, and then you say, yeah, fuck all of that, I'm gonna take the money and do it. Nothing wrong? Nothing, no loyalty whatsoever? If you have no loyalty, you have to accept the consequences, and these are the consequences of what is happening.
Your career at the Daily Wire so far, it's rubbing me the wrong way. I'm about to talk. Here's what really happened. Brett chooses to leave over reasons that legally I don't believe I am allowed to say, so I'm not going to touch on them. And honestly, that's Brett's story. But moral of the story, Brett decided to leave. 100% Brett's decision. And Brett said that herself, although people aren't believing that. I do understand the circumstances are a little weird, but Brett chose to leave. That is what you need to know.
There must be a reason. Okay, there must be a reason. She was already in so many things working with the company. It wasn't only her channel that she created. It was also her working on Snow White and other projects as well. Just stopping all of that and moving away from it for whatever reason. Like, there is another reason. You can still decide to leave a company by yourself, but be made to leave it. You know, like they could pressure you until you cannot anymore and you have to leave. So you're not fired, you did it yourself, but they pressured you into doing it. You know what I mean?
No. And the rest of the story I'm about to tell you. So here's where Regan's part comes in. Regan was the producer of the comments section. Like I said, they were best friends. So whenever Brett decides to leave, Brett recommends to the Daily Wire that Regan step in and be the substitute host.
If that was the case, Brett would have made a tweet about it. Brett should have said something. She would have been on one of those videos. They would all agree. I don't think Daily Wire would be like, no, we don't want to have you on a video with Regan. They would, with open arms, allow it. They were like, yeah, let's go, let's do this, because they know the consequences of not doing it.
Of time. So Regan, with her friend's blessing, decides that she is going to do this, and she loved it. Regan has always loved the Daily Wire. While Brett decided to step away, Regan has always really enjoyed her time there, and
you know what I think it happened there in my opinion? I think what happened is that Brett was testing Regan as friendship goes. She was like, okay, I give you my blessings. I'm not gonna stop you of doing something you wanna do. But honestly, in her heart, she was thinking like, if she does this to me, like I would be heartbroken. And she did it. She chose money over friendship.
I personally have witnessed how much Reagan loves to do research on Republican media. She loves all things Republican news. So this was perfect for her. I've watched her grow and flourish with the Daily Wire, and she has literally just stepped into each position full force, and she absolutely loved her time being able to be the substitute host. However, that being said, Reagan wanted them to continue searching for other hosts that could actually step in full time. So she's the substitute host while they're doing this search, and they decided they didn't like any of the other host options. They wanted Reagan. So the Daily Wire reaches out and offers the position to Reagan. Now Reagan is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Brett has told Reagan that she wants Reagan to come with her, to leave the Daily Wire with her. And she told her that she could be her producer. However, that being said, it would be months before Brett knew of what she wanted Reagan to exactly be doing. It would be months until Reagan got paid by Brett. And also, Reagan would not be getting as much pay from Brett, that's for sure. The Daily Wire is able to pay her a great sum of money. Brett wouldn't be able to pay her quite as much. While Brett is doing quite well for herself, it wouldn't be able to be quite as much. So Reagan would be taking a significant pay cut. Now, my cousin is doing fantastic in life, but I don't know about you, most people cannot just take several months off of work and then also take a massive pay cut when they have expenses. So, all of that considered, along with the fact that Reagan loves what she's doing, she believes in the Daily Wire, and she really enjoys being in front of the camera. She loves it. You can watch, guys. Like, everybody's accusing her of having acting classes. I can tell you, that is how Reagan's always been. That's how she's always spoken. Yes, maybe they have some of the same mannerisms. They've been best friends. Who of you has a best friend and doesn't start kind of talking like...
I have best friends and I don't speak like them. We are not the same person just because we are best friends. We know them really well. We know when they are sad. We know when they are happy because we know that how their voices sounds like, how their mannerism is like. But we are not them, okay? We don't act like them. Like, I don't know. Is that just me?
Like them. You usually have the same lingo. So the acting classes, rumor, it's just that. It's a rumor. Reagan has never had acting classes. She literally just does speak that way. That's how she is. Anyways, you can tell she loves it. She loves being in front of the camera.
Also, your personality on camera and off camera is not the same, okay? You are the same person. However, on camera, you sound different, whether you are trying to speak more fluently so others can understand you, or you're trying to be more energetic or more calm, depending on your vibe, okay? Depending on the vibe of the channel that you are creating. Me speaking like this, and of course it's because I speak English and I speak other languages with other people, but me speaking like this and with my friends is different. I speak differently with my friends, you know? It's not like I am acting or whatever. It's just, it is a part of the job. It's a part of the content creation that you do. So Brett, I'm sure off screen and on screen, she doesn't speak the same. She puts a professional face on and she goes and does the work. So why would then Regan have the same mannerism as Brett when that's not how Brett speaks off screen? You know, like if we go and check Brett maybe in some private videos that she made, maybe on TikTok or on her private Instagram or something, then maybe we can compare that to Reagan's.
She decides, even though she's between a rock and a hard place and does not want to offend Brett, she decides to take the position because she's meant for it, guys. I don't know how to explain to you. I've watched Reagan grow over the course of her time there. And she used to be so afraid to speak up about her views. She actually came to me at one point when I was starting to do so.
I mean, she has her own channel, okay? She could have kept uploading on her channel. Nobody stopped her. Why did she not do that? Why did she not start her own channel? She literally just took over something that someone else worked hard on.
Social media, and I was always talking about being a Republican and talking about my views. She came to me and said, Rai, how do you do that? Like, how do you unashamedly talk about your views and not worry about offending people? And I was just like, you can't worry about it. Like, you gotta be true to yourself. She grew from that
you gotta be true to
over the
yourself.
course of the Daily Wire, being able to completely speak up about her feelings, speak up about what she knows, and be such a solid voice for Republicans, especially...
if that who she was and Daily Wire saw the talent she has, they would not have let her go if she asked for a new channel or a rebrand, instead of just putting herself there and taking over everything that was Brett. You know, the same name, the same studio, the same, even the same auto-tune on the mic or whatever they are using, the same format, the same camera angles. They put a different cup. You know, it's on the same position where Brett's cup is, where she always drinks her coffee or tea or whatever. You know, like, they changed a couple of books in the background, as if we will, like, what? We will notice these things, guys. Like, what?
Young female Republicans. She is a huge voice and makes a massive impact. Even as producer, she was doing that behind the scenes. She was doing that on her Instagram stories. So those of you accusing her of just stealing this role, she's meant for it. You just haven't given her a chance. So Thanksgiving comes around and Regan is dealing with this, do I take it, do I not? She wanted to take it so badly, but you should have seen us in the basement of my grandparents' house, her being an emotional wreck, not wanting to upset Brett. That was her only concern. And I said, take away Brett's feelings, what would you do? She said, I would take it. I would love to take it. But if you include Brett's feelings, she didn't want to hurt her friend. But that being said, her friend decided to step away. It's different if Reagan shoved her out. It's different if the Daily Wire forced her away. But she didn't. Brett chose to leave, and there was this open position that was then presented to Reagan as, do you want this? After multiple weeks of searching for somebody else. So, Reagan takes the position. And I said to Reagan, if Brett is a true friend, she will still be in your corner. If she is not, then she was never a true friend to begin with. I can understand Brett being hurt. I can understand Brett wanting Reagan to follow in a way, but Reagan is her own person, and she is...
I don't think Brett is such a mean person. This is what she said, is like, yeah, Brett should have supported her as a friend, but she didn't, because she's mean and she doesn't want the best for her best friend, her maid of honor. She wants her to not succeed. She wants to see her demise. Like, no, I don't see Brett being that person. Why are we portraying her as such?
Meant for this role. You can't force people to do what you want them to do, and then if they don't do it, stop being their friend. So I was hoping in good faith, from what I had seen of Brett, that Brett would make the right decision and still support Reagan. Well, here's what happened. So obviously Brett puts out that video about stepping away from the Daily Wire and Reagan's going to be a great host, blah, blah, blah. That's all she said. Fair enough. Well, then Brett decides to remove all of the posts on her social media with Reagan. And I was like, that's low, but okay, maybe she's just trying to support Reagan. Maybe she's trying to not let her be in the limelight and not let people find her social media so that she doesn't get hated on. I don't know. Well, then Brett completely unfollows Reagan off of Instagram. Messed up, if you ask me. Because Reagan always was supporting Brett. Reagan loved Brett, still loves Brett, to be honest with you.
Oh, I love you, but I'm gonna take everything you have created and use it for my own success. Because, yeah, the company didn't agree with you and didn't make your life easy. But that's your problem, you know? That's your issue that you had to leave. I'm gonna take over now. Like, how you don't understand that is messed up? You're a friend. You should be loyal. And, okay, all right, you need to feed yourself. You need your own bread. Then make sure that you choose the right ways to do it. As I said, new channel, different thing, or even the same channel, but different stuff, like completely rebranding, brother. Not reusing, not copying.
The way that she still is so forgiving of this girl is really incredible, because I would have said screw you after all of the things that Brett has now done.
I know you would.
But she's still so loving towards Brett, and in fact has several times on YouTube already in Reagan's first few episodes very vocally supported Brett. She always supported Brett whenever
brother, if she didn't.
did the show, and she was so vocal about the fact that Brett was talented and Brett was a genius and blah blah blah. So I was very much hoping that whenever the tables turned and Reagan stepped into the position, that Brett would do the same. Well, instead, since Reagan did not come along with Brett and leave the Daily Wire for Brett, Brett has completely turned on her and allowed the hate to happen, even though Regan was offered the position fairly and Brett chose to step away. She's allowed the hate to spew and has not come forward and tried to clear Regan's name, even slightly. So, sure, do I think the Daily Wire could have handled this differently and started a new show?
It's on
Sure.
the Daily Wire.
But the show was never owned by Brett. It was never Brett's show. It's the Daily Wire's show, hosted by Brett. There was actually a host before Brett, although a lot of people don't know that. So,
why a lot of people don't know that? If the show is by Daily Wire and this is what they have created, then why nobody's talking about the first host? It's because Brett is the one who made it successful. It's because Brett was the reason this show succeeded, not the Daily Wire. She just said it.
I think the Daily Wire could have done things differently and given a little more room for, I don't know, grieving of Brett leaving. Sure. But the moral of the story is that Regan's not at fault even slightly, and the internet is disgusting towards Regan right now, and it's also disgusting how Brett has handled this because she's just fostered hate towards Regan, and Regan has said nothing but support for Brett. So please go subscribe to the comments section on YouTube, and please show your support for Regan in the comments because this girl needs love done. It is horrible to see the hate that's come towards her, and I'm not going to stand for it anymore.
But you're gonna delete the video on your channel. Such a fighter. Yeah, I shared my opinion. Literally, this makes no sense whatsoever. If I would put myself in that position, I understand why Regan chose to actually accept the job. Don't get me wrong. She needs to be paid. She needs her bread and whatever. Like, all right. But you could have handled that differently. You could have asked Brett, what could I do for this to be all right with you? What could I do that doesn't really hurt your feelings? I'm sure she didn't do that, because if she did that, Brett would have been honest, told her what could have been done, and they would squash it. Instead, Brett, I'm sure, was like, okay, like, whatever, do whatever you want. It's your choice at the end of the day. And then Regan chose, and she chose wrong. Also, like, they could have both of them pressed on the Daily Wire, saying that, listen, you either have it, but you have it a different way, rebranding just for your own sake as well. They had this experimental era where Regan would come on the show and pretend that Brett is on a work leave, even though that's her work, and that she's like in her place right now. And when she did that, she got a lot of good views and people were supportive of her, which shows that it's not Regan, it's not the problem with Regan, like, she's fine. I think the problem was with how they handled it, and the fact that Daily Wire saw all of that and thought, oh, all right, so she's getting the same amount of views and the comments are fine and the likes are fine, so we just can replace Brett at this point. It's gonna be all right. Well, guess what? It's not. And you can see it with the views. You can see it with the subscribers. Like, they are losing subscribers every day. The views don't even hit 70K, while with Brett it would be 300 to 500K. Like, yeah, it's a significant loss. And they should do something before they actually destroy everything that they and Brett Cooper, the Daily Wire and Brett Cooper worked on. That's my opinion. And yeah, Regan should not get all the hate. Like, she's just a face. And unfortunately, when you have a face on something, like, the face is getting the worst. Like, on my channel, for example, if something happens, I am to blame. If the editing is not all right, even though I'm not the editor, I am to blame. I am the one who have to apologize because it's my face on it. And I feel the worst because it's me. It's a representation of me, my channel, you know, even though sometimes it's not my fault. I apologize. So that's the thing, you know, and Regan getting the worst, it is what it is. That's a part of the job, unfortunately.